How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new, welcome to the channel. I'm that fishing noob, and today, right now, while I'm making my way over to where I'm going to fish, I'm going to go over a 1-year review of my Old Town Sportsman PDL 106. All of this video summed up, this kayak is 100% worth it. If I had to go back in time, I would choose this kayak again, and here's why 1 year later. My big question with this kayak is, one, how stable is it? One of my desires with upgrading kayaks was getting something that was stable enough to stand up and fish in. And is it stable enough to stand up and fish in? I'll show you. Fishing rod, kayak. Obviously it is not dead calm out here, but guess what? Pop up, make a cast, and fish. So the more comfortable and more familiar I get with kayak fishing, the more I'm like, yeah, this is such a solid and stable platform. It is crazy. Definitely exceeds my expectations when I was looking for something that's super stable. Other thing I was wondering with it is, how heavy is it and how easy is it going to be to load up onto, in my case, a Jeep roof rack? And after, sheesh, north of 50 trips with this thing out, I will say that it is not so heavy that I dread having to load it up at the end of a fishing trip. Now, is it as light as my old Lifetime Teton or Titan angler? No, it's not. I can't shoulder press this kayak. However, it's not so heavy that I'm like, dang it, I just don't want to load it. I really wish I had a trailer. I've never thrown up my back. I've never had any kind of issues with shoulders or whatever loading this kayak onto my Jeep. And that is that is the only way that I've transported this kayak to all the lakes and all the spots that I've fished. Lakes, the creeks, random ponds. I have transported this kayak on the top of my Jeep, and it has been great. It's not to say that this is crazy light, because it's not, but it's also not so heavy and so cumbersome that I need help loading it up, or I just dread loading it up at the end of a fishing trip. And I mean, it's heavy for a reason. It's heavy, and this is Sportsman PDL 106. The Sportsman's wide, so it's heavy and it's wide for a reason. It comes with stability. And man, yep, this is stable, and it's not crazy heavy. Another random thing that I was looking at was, what is better, or what are the differences, or which do I prefer between a propeller drive and a fin drive? So the propeller drive, prop driven pedal kayak, operates like this. Operates just like a bicycle. And now with that, I don't have to change or touch anything to go instant reverse. I can just start back pedaling, and then same thing, start forward pedaling again and go forward, back pedal, instant reverse. Compared to a fin drive, if I had a fin drive, I'd have to go pull on like the reverse gear to get that switched over. Now, where the fin drive excels, I think two main things. One, it can go super shallow, and you can kind of do like this pedal dance with the fin drive, where you're basically doing this, and it'll cut through like shallow ends and like weeds and vegetation really well. And the second thing is it's more efficient, so you can cover more water without spending as much energy, which, if that's something that's important to you, then you know. But for me, I was like, whenever I am hooking up on a fish, I don't want to have to reach down and pull, you know, a little string, a cable to go to like reverse. So I opted for this, a prop driven kayak. Now, from my experience, the most water I've covered in a full day has probably been just over 9 miles, and not once have I gotten off the water the following day, the day after that, and had my legs be sore. So like right now, I'm a little tired because I'm trying to book it to over there so I can get as much fishing as possible done. And I mean, right now I am maintaining 3.8 miles per hour. Obviously I have a tailwind, which helps, but even at 3.8 miles per hour, I'm not so out of breath that I can't talk. Also to note, because you might be like, you sound like you're kind of out of breath. Well, I might be. That's because I have asthma. So that's my excuse. But this is not difficult to pedal at all. So there's not multiple gears, there's just one gear, and it's kind of like if you're pedaling slower or lighter, then you're gonna go slower. If you pedal hard, then you'll go faster. The highest or the fastest I've gotten this thing to go is, I think it was like 4.6 miles per hour. But that was me like really trying to get it up there. So right now I'm maintaining 3.5 miles per hour relatively comfortably. And I know at the end of today, my legs aren't gonna be shot. Even loading it up, you know, back on the Jeep, I'm not gonna feel it in my legs. If you can imagine riding a bicycle, you have, let's say if a bike has 5 gears, this would probably be like gear 2 / gear 3. It's not super strenuous on your muscles. Now, a little bit about me, I am in decent shape. I work out ideally 2 times a week. I'm about 5'10" and $160-ish. So those are kind of like my specs or my stats, which, you know, if I was heavier, if I was taller, it would all impact the stability of the kayak to some degree. So this thing is crazy stable. Like right now, look, it's kind of choppy, right? I'm definitely far away from shore. This is offshore. I can still stand up, and I mean, I could stretch out my back, I could stretch my legs. If I really wanted to, I can even fish right here. I can set into fish, I can set the hook. It would be no problem at all. And this is this is far from a calm day. I don't know how well the GoPro can pick up kind of just a light chop on the water, but yeah, super stable. Some other random minor things. So as I got more into kayak fishing, like the non-negotiables, I wanted accessory tracks built in because I was pretty set on getting a pedal drive kayak. So I wanted a bulletproof pedal system. I wanted something that was stable enough to comfortably stand up and fish out of. I wanted something that was from a reputable company that has really good customer service and a really good warranty. And I mean, this fits that, it checks all those boxes. So with the drive, this drive is pretty bulletproof. Now, like, I've done my part on, you know, taking care of it as best as I can by going through and spraying like corrosion inhibitor, you know, on my internal components. So like the shear pin, prop nut, kind of just doing that basic maintenance there. And then also when I store it, I don't store it upside down so water can't go into like the top shaft position of it and it kind of just sit there in between fishing trips. So with those two, my drive is as smooth as it was a year ago, and there hasn't been, at least from what I've seen, any kind of issues. There's no grinding, there's no weird noises that it shouldn't be making. It's good. Now, as far as the construction of it, it was actually on this lake. Well, before I had a fish finder and before I was kind of familiar with the layout of the lake, I actually went from pretty much like this speed to a dead stop because I smacked the crap out of some rocks with my drive. And based off of the noise of it, I was like, oh my gosh, I just broke my kayak. Like, it is done. I just broke it. I'm done. And I popped it up and it was good to go. I was like, all right, I can't do that again. And then I did it again. At the end of that trip, I was fishing another new spot. I was trying to gauge the depth visually, and I thought I was far enough offshore to not peg rocks, but nope, I did the same exact thing again. And there has not been any cracking. I haven't seen any issues. It's just, it happened and that's it. So I think that this drive is constructed really well. I would even dare say that it's pretty bulletproof. On the topic of the drive, it's actually really easy to go through and do like maintenance if you have to. Like, let's say for example, if you break a prop, you can go through just like this. I keep my drive locked. Unlock it, flip it up, and I mean, everything is right here. You can go through and replace your prop. And once you're finished with everything, just drop it right back down, lock it in place, good to go. So there's no need to beat yourself and kind of like take your whole drive off and then like take out weeds and stuff or line. if you get line, like I've gotten braided line wrapped up on the inside, like the mini shaft of the drive, and I was able to go through like kind of like this, just sit out on the water, pop my drive up, take everything off, get that braided line out, put everything back together, plop it down, continue fishing. Pretty simple. Some of the little key features of this kayak, like I was mentioning, so it has 2 accessory tracks, both on port side, starboard side. It has grab handles on the side, which I appreciate, grab handle on the front, which I appreciate, 2 little like cutouts, indentions, like molds to go through and lift the kayak up from the back with 2 hands, which I appreciate. A big thing that I didn't know I would really enjoy is a forward facing rod holder. That is so great to have. Whenever I need to go through, retie something, or if I'm getting a hook out of a fish, or if I'm just storing my rod while I go and deal with something, I just throw my rod in the forward facing rod holder and it is good to go. It's been a game changer. I really enjoy that. Didn't realize that I would like that so much. And of course, with, you know, majority of pedal kayaks, I think all pedal kayaks, it has a rudder. So a little bit on the modifications that I've done to this kayak, I really haven't done anything. The only thing that I changed was I got a different transducer mount. I got a Yak Hobby high tuck or a stealth mount to get my transducer tucks higher up into the hole so I don't like break it. And then other than that, I haven't really done anything else to the kayak. I've gotten these cleat mounts, these cleats for my accessory tracks, my gear tracks. I use seat risers. I have a seat cushion, but I mean, I have the same stock rudder bolt. I haven't done any drilling. Like I run my fish finder electronics just straight out of that front hatch up and then over right here. I mean, it's been pretty solid so far. And I mean, just recently is when I threw on some seat risers. So I fished with no seat risers or a seat cushion for I think like 8-9 months and didn't really have any complaints. I just heard like, oh, this will make things more comfortable. So I was like, all right, cool. And sure enough, it makes things more comfortable. But other than that, I haven't done any other mods. And the next mod that I'm looking at doing is getting a bigger handle. So on that comes some little qualms. This kayak is not perfect. There's always going to be some kind of little, I don't like this about it, or I have an issue with this, or I wish this was better. So a couple qualms. This handle, and specifically the tension knob on the handle, is kind of a pain. So on choppy days or windy days, I have to constantly go through and adjust both the tension on the handle and kind of just the direction to keep myself as much so in the spot that I want to be as possible. There's some minor upgrades from Navarre Kayak Fishing that goes through and alleviates that and helps that, like a rudder bolt and like an oversized handle. So that's kind of why I'm looking at that. Other thing is the drive storage. The drive storage is not very deep in the Sportsman, which is not the best, not the most fun. I typically don't carry a heck of a lot of stuff with me, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's kind of annoying whenever I have to like cram things in. So in my storage, I keep little secret sauce, keep backup stuff, so shear pin, lock nut, prop nut, lock washer, I mean prop nut. I keep extra identifier cards. I keep a little sleeve for identifiers, pens, permanent marker. Then that's also where I keep my wallet, my keys, and the extra power banks that I have. So it can get pretty cramped pretty quick. I don't think I have really any other qualms when looking around. Old Town customer service is also top tier. So the experience that I've had with them so far, back I think maybe 5 months ago, I sent them an email and I was inquiring. I was like, hey, I've noticed some wear on my seat. I saw these little threads coming out of the seat, and all I asked was, is this normal? That's all I asked. Is this normal? Is this normal wear and tear? And the response that I got back within, I think, a day and a half was, hey, go ahead and send us your serial number and we'll get you a new seat. And I was like, what? Sure, I'll take a new seat. If they had told me that, yeah, it's normal wear and tear, I would have been like, okay, cool, just double checking, wanted to make sure. But yeah, no questions asked. I sent some pictures with it too, but no questions asked, and they just sent me a new seat. And then I got the new seat and use that box to send my old seat. So there's been stories like that that I've heard and that I've read about in my research when I was trying to decide which kayak to go with. And like, customer service on Old Town has been great. It's what I've heard, what I've read. So that was another deciding factor to go with in Old Town. Another minor thing, and this is a minor thing that I like, is the bottom of my kayak stays pretty dry. There's not standing water. Even if I'm pedaling really hard, it doesn't hold water. So the only scuppers that I have in it right now are the two underneath my seat. I'm using the two that the kayak came with. Everything else is just open. So I've been really happy with that as well, because like right now it's hot, so I don't mind my feet getting wet. But as it starts getting colder down here in Texas, I don't want my feet being soaked all day. That does not sound very pleasant. Another issue that some people have is the underseat storage. And for me, I just carry a 3600 Eternal tackle box under my seat. And then under that, I have little bags of soft plastics. So I know like other guys that like to run a giant drawer or something that you can put like a pull-out little, I don't know, organizer bin. You can't fit that underneath this seat, because underneath the seat there's these two little support structures, and they double as little rod holders for under the seat, which I use. But because they're there, you can't go add like a bin and have that, you know, stored under your seat, which for me, it's not a big deal, because I don't really carry a whole lot anyways. I carry 2 bags of soft plastics, got my milk crate in the back, my cart also in the back. Take a look-see right there. Got a catch board. I normally carry a net, if I remember. Got my seat, obviously, seat cushion, electronics, and that's kind of like it, and obviously like rods. So I don't carry, in my opinion, a whole lot of stuff, and this for me is sufficient. But yeah, all that to say, I'm really pleased with this purchase. I really enjoy this kayak, and I mean, I recommend it to a lot of my buddies. Like Jeremy over at Dadfish Tackle, he went and picked up the same exact kayak as this. So we're kayak twins. Got the same 106, same photic camo. It's great. And I mean, he's really liked it too. So there's nothing but raving reviews, good reviews from this kayak. If I had to go back, I'd do it again. Love this thing, love this 106. Definitely a huge blessing. It took a little bit to save up for it. It took a lot of bit to save up for it, but it's been worth it. Completely been worth it. But if you guys have any questions about this kayak, or if you want to see anything specific about the kayak, let me know, and I'll do my best to go and shoot it. Real quick, answering just one question that another one you guys had was, all right, so I don't bass fish, I primarily catch and keep fish. How does that work for handling a fish bag and a cooler? Well, if I had a fish bag, if I was keeping, let's say, casts, my fish bag would be on front hatch with a bungee going over it, tied to those bungees. My net would be on top of that. And then in the rear, behind my cart, I can fit a cooler. So the cooler would be for drinks, lunch, whatever. Then obviously, like, the trade-off would be I wouldn't be able to bring my cart anymore, which is not a big deal. So behind the crate would be a small cooler. I'd be able to reach back. Like, that's the thing about this kayak too. I can do whatever I need to do without this kayak going through and getting kind of crazy. If I need to be back here for an extended period of time, I'll just flip around and then put my knees in the seat and kind of just station that way to do whatever it is I need to do. But I have had no issue going through, reaching back, accessing the rear storage. And then also, so front, if I needed to, I'll just lean forward and then I can do whatever I need to do up here. If I needed to lean forward even more, I could. Like, I almost sit on where the drive is and then access front hatch. I mean, I've had to do that for tournaments whenever it gets super rainy. I have a dry bag in there with some rain gear and some emergency gear. So I've had to go through in front hatch to get my rain gear before I get drenched. And yeah, this kayak's been good to me. But thanks for joining me on this little one-year review of my Old Town Sportsman PDL 106. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, then make sure to drop some fishing wisdom down below. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can leave those down below as well. But I'm here where I'm gonna start fishing, so that'll be it for this one. I hope that you guys are able to go fishing, and if you are fishing, I hope that you're able to catch a big one. But I'll catch ya on the next one. God is good. Y'all be blessed. Later.